Morning all. This morning I'm going to be talking about a little town in South Cambridgeshire called Melbourne, where I am. Later on, I'm probably going to take the camera out when I take the dog out, show you around our little village. So Melbourne is this is according to Wikipedia. Melbourne is a large clustered village in the far southwest of Cambridgeshire, England. Its traditional high street is bypassed by the A10, intersecting the settlement's other main axis exactly 3 miles northwest of the traditional focal point of Royston, Hertfordshire, the nearest largest settlement. It has over 4,600 inhabitants. I think that was in 2011, so it's clearly going to be more than that now. And it's in the South Cambridgeshire district. It was the 2011 that figure, so it's definitely going to be more than that because we've been here since 2014, and since then there have been many new builds built, which is a shame for the village because it feels like a small town rather than a village now. But that number will certainly have grown. If anyone's interested, the Ordnance Survey grid is TL385445. As I said, it's in South Cambridgeshire. The county is Cambridgeshire, in the east of England. Post town is Royston, which is SG8, dialing code 01763. Police and fire is Cambridgeshire, and the ambulance is east of England. Again, a lot of information just from Wikipedia, some bit of history. The parish has a long history of occupation, stemming from the presence of springs at Melbourne Bury and several ancient trackways that cross the parish. The Icknield Way runs to the south of the parish, and Ashwell Street and the Roman Cambridge Royston Road are also believed to follow prehistoric trackways. Pottery and burial finds show evidence of Bronze Age residents, and a Roman settlement has been found in the northeast edge of the village. Excavations in the 1950s discovered 28 graves from the 7th century Christian burial site close to Ashwell Street. Melbourne apparently appears in 5 entries in the Domesday Book. The name Melbourne comes from Melbourne, the stream of a man named Medi. So yes. The finding of a Saxon cemetery shows that Christianity has been present in Melbourne since the 7th century. The village also probably had the 11th century chapel, but the first record of a church is from 1152. The present church, dedicated to All Saints, is a Grade 2 listed building. RRO conducted a major restoration in 1882, but the church includes sections of 13th century building, including the chancel, arch, and sections of the tower. The font is 11th century. Village life. It's got a primary school and a secondary school. There's also a well-known science park. There is I'm not quite sure when this information is from, but most of it I think is still quite right. There is a butcher, a co-op shop, 5 hairdressers. Is there 5 hairdressers? There probably is. There seems to be more hairdressers than anything else everywhere, isn't there? A barber shop, 2 estate agents, 2 pubs, a news agent and a post office, 2 garages, 3 churches, the Sheen Mill on the River Mell is a hotel and a restaurant, formerly owned by chef Stephen Saunders. The nearest railway station is Meldreth, in the neighbouring village, which opened in 1851 on the Cambridge line. Pubs, 2 pubs. Obviously, we know the Dolphin and the Black Horse. Melbourne was much visited by travellers in the 17th century and listed as having an inn in 1622. By the late 18th century, the village supported three: the Dog of unknown history, the Red Lion that closed towards the end of the 19th century, and the Hoops that closed in the early 20th century. In 1865, the village had 11 inns or pubs, including the Black Horse and the Star, the White Lion, the Anchor, the Carrier's Arms and the Red Cow. The Rose Inn and the Coach and Horses opened in around 1850. The oldest of the present public houses is the Dolphin, which dates back to 1818. And the other one, obviously, that we still know is the Black Horse. So yeah, that's a little bit of history about the village. As I say, I'm going to go out for a walk a little bit later on with the dog when we get a little bit of daylight. As you can see, it is still dark behind me. I'll take the camera, do a bit of video and do a bit of talking. Won't always be talking because you get bored. And yeah, we'll see the sights. Hope you come along for the ride. So as I said earlier on, doing a walk around this morning. It is a bit wet and a bit windy. I'm on the junction of Bramley Avenue and Russet Way, walking south towards sort of where the sort of main high street is. I'll get there in due course, but yeah, as I say, walking south along Russet Way at the moment. With the dog. As you can see, she's quite happy because she's going to get a longer walk this morning probably. Bit of rain in the air this morning, so if it does start coming down, might have to cut this a bit short, but the plan is to walk up to where one of the two pubs are, the Black Horse, which essentially is the longest road. And then I'll then make my way back onto the high street, where we will then go past the Dolphin, and then along the high street I'll show you the church, show you a few of the things that I spoke about in the video earlier on, and then yeah, go from there. So it's currently just gone 7 o'clock, so it is still dark. We still got the street lights on. As I say, a bit of rain in the air, it's a bit windy, so hopefully you can hear me all okay. So yeah, I've been in Melbourne now since 2014. It has changed a lot even in that time, and obviously if you speak to people that have been here even longer than we have, they would say it's clearly changed, a lot, prior to that. But these new builds that are going up, whether you agree with them or whether you don't, have certainly changed the face of the village. I think it changes the face of anywhere, but in a small village like this where there isn't a lot of infrastructure, from the point of view of one primary school, one senior school, I think I'm right in saying only one doctor's, the writing's on the wall when things aren't done to improve that. By that obviously I mean spending some money on the doctor's surgery, making it bigger, better facilities. I think the schools possibly have been given some funding, I don't know on that, but as I say, I think you hear this everywhere. People were very keen to give planning permission, and that's not just the last government. Governments before them have also done exactly the same thing, so they're all as bad as each other from that point of view. It's all about money. So I think if that's something that certainly needs to be looked at. I mean, the whole time you're on the local reporting sites, you always hear the doctor's surgery, you know, don't answer the phone, can't get an appointment. And again, that's probably the same for a lot of places. But you know, this one in particular, you know, from what I hear, it's not my surgery, so I'm quite lucky from that point of view. But from what I hear, it's not very good. Which is a shame, because you know, people need these local facilities. You know, especially people that can't drive and rely on it. So yeah, it's a shame. But hey ho. As I said earlier on, when you build new houses, this is a net result, isn't it? That this is going to happen. So yeah, it's a shame, but deal with it. Go from there. Just had to put the camera down a little bit because there was a car coming the other way. He looked at me quite strange as to why I'm walking at just gone 7 o'clock in the morning with a camera. Anyway, in my opinion, for what it's worth, this is the best time to do it because it's quiet. Not a lot of people about. I can ramble on. I think that is either the dentist or the doctors. One or the other. As I say, I don't use them, so I don't know. And this is the primary school. I won't be going down the moor this morning, especially if this rain begins to get any heavier than it is now. So you might not see that, but that is where the senior school is. Down the moor. Also there is a park down there which they've just spent a lot of money on, making the facilities down there a lot better. My boy is a bit too old now to be going there, but he did love the parks there, and also in Field Crescent. So just approaching New Road, which I'm going to cross over. Okay, so this is the doctor's. Okay, so here we are. So this is New Road. So up that way takes you up to Flint Cross and the A505. Obviously, you do a left at the bottom there, takes you towards Duxford. Do a right, takes you back towards Royston. I'm going to cross now because there's a car coming, and that's going down towards the High Street, which we'll come on to later. As you can hear, I am blowing a bit. Not necessarily because I'm unfit, but when you're talking and thinking about the dog as well, it's a lot to do for a man. Anyway. If the dog does her business, I might have to pause for a minute. She doesn't look like she's anywhere close to it at the minute, which is good. Obviously, always have your bags at the ready. All you dog walkers out there, I know that's one thing that's been heavily spoken about again on the local reporting sites about people either not clearing up the dog's mess or putting it in bags and tying it on trees and stuff like that. Cheers. So coming up on the right hand side is where we vote, which is also the United Reformed Church. In here, and then you've got one of the two cemeteries here, and a few headstones, obviously, in here as well. And here on the left hand side is the Black Horse pub. I will admit, I've never been in there, so I can't tell you what it's like. But it's been here longer than I have, so I'm sure they do the right thing. Right, so the dog is just doing her business, so I'm just gonna pause for a minute, sort that out. We'll keep it playing. Hopefully, there is a bin across there. Okay, so we'll carry on. When you gotta go, you gotta go. She's happy. So this is still the same road that I was on when I first came on. I'm not sure if this is still referred to as Russet Way, I'm not sure. When we get to the end, I will let you know. But essentially, it's all the same road. Rain is beginning to get a bit heavier now as well, which is not ideal because I'm walking further away from home. Anyway, you people don't care about that. You can watch this in the dry. Actually, Orchard Road, that is. Now we're doing right at the end of Orchard Road, going down towards the High Street. But again, when we get to the bottom, actually cars are allowed to come up here, not down here. But let's just argue. When we get to the bottom, if we do a left, that takes you out to the 505. Do a left for Royston. You can do a right for Cambridge. I don't know why you do a right there because it's such a busy junction. You're better off going right through the village, out to the garden centre ends, and doing that. I think would be my advice for what it's worth on driving. Just whilst we've got a lull, if you're liking this video, hit like, hit subscribe. Obviously this is a very young channel still, so the more people that like and subscribe, more it gets it out there. So hopefully you've liked what you've seen so far, and obviously liking this video as well. Right, if it is safe to do so, I will stand in the middle of the road. As I say, towards Royston, back into the village centre. Coming up on the left hand side in a little bit will be the Dolphin, the oldest remaining pub in the village, as I said earlier on in the introduction video. I'm still not sure about this 5 hairdressers and a barber, to be honest with you. I may need to look into that, to be honest with you, to find out exactly what the form is on that. But yeah, I'm not sure it is 5 hairdressers. I'm sure someone can correct me on that. I'm sure they will. Coming up on the left hand side, just before the Dolphin, there is a turning, and up there is one of Melbourne's hidden gems, which not many people, or not many outside the village know, thank goodness. But it's Melbourne Meadow, and it is lovely. Not so much at this time of year where it's muddy and boggy, but in the summer it is lovely. But my point is, not many people know about it. So if you're a local, embrace it more. If you're not local and you're coming to visit, certainly in the summer months, go and have a walk around because it's lovely. So as you can see, you've got the Dolphin and the estate agent here. As I say, the oldest remaining pub in Melbourne. So up there is where I said the meadow is, just up there on the left hand side, Dolphin Lane. As I say, big old car park for the Dolphin. Get a decent meal in there. Friendly company. I have been in there. So we are almost at the centre of the village. That takes you back towards where the boats down there. I'm going to cross over quickly here because there's some nice gardens, only small, and then I'll cross back over. Here's the gardens, nice couple of benches to sit down, chill out, again at the right time of year. And cross back over. Okay, so we are coming up to the fish and chip shop here on the left hand side. Always good for some fish and chips, burger, battered sausage, everything you would expect all very good, all very nice. So yeah, that is the fish and chip shop in the village. Got the one or two barbers in the village coming up on the right hand side, and also a nail bar which is quite new, but there. And then the other barber shop, crazily, just there with the lights on. You've then got the pharmacy and the co-op here on the right hand side, just behind those concrete bollards. Coming up to the main intersection in the village now. I say main intersection, it's never really that busy unless it's school time, really. It's not quite like this, as quiet as this. Let's go back down towards where I was walking. This is the butchers, very good butchers. Come to the War Memorial and the church coming up on the left hand side. You can't really see it through all the trees, to be fair. See if I can get a slightly better angle. Hopefully that's a little bit better. You can see the spire as well. Hideaway Cafe there, not been in there, had good things, so go and give that a try. Certainly another local business to give a go. Old phone box. So coming up on the right hand side, you've got the Premier, the second of the two sort of shops in the village. Does a lot of everything, to be honest with you. So certainly something there. If you need something, you can usually get it in there, to be fair. And that's where the post office is as well, incidentally. So, blink and you miss it. The new bus stop here. That is basically the main bit of the village. Got a couple of other things to show you, and then I think that'll be basically it. I've been rambling on for over 20 minutes, so I think I've done quite well. Town car park here, free of charge to park. You can park there for the shops, church. We've got the hub here on the left hand side. Getting quite new. I think when it opened now, it's certainly been open since we've been here. So I can't actually remember exactly when it opened now. We can get breakfast in there, teas, coffees, cakes. Had a few meetings in there. So yeah, that's the Melbourne hub. Now really after this, there's not an awful lot more for me to show you. I will go up to the moor. There's a person coming now as well. So I might stop for a minute. Morning.
Right there.
So yeah, we this on the right hand side obviously is now new builds. Quite laughable. One of them was sold. No, it is not. That's the second time I think I've seen that. To be honest, but this used to be, I think, the Old Star. And it used to be really, really good for Sunday roasts. It then became Herbie's Diner, which again was good. We used it even before we moved to the village. We used it. And then, as with a lot of pubs, unfortunately nowadays, when there is variety in such a small village, unless you do something niche, you're not going to survive, unfortunately. So yeah, it shut down, I don't know, a good few years ago now. And those houses, as you can see, they've literally just been finished, but the front two clearly are far too overpriced because they've been for sale now, well, what seems like an age, but I'm sure it's only about 2 or 3 months. But yeah, as I say, one of them has been sold twice and it's been pulled off twice. So I think someone said to me fairly recently, 2 in 3 housing negotiations fall through. 2 in 3. That's the more going down towards James's senior school and the MVC. But 2 in 3 houses fall through in the negotiations. Think of the money that's involved. That is astronomical. It really is, I think. I mean, I know when we moved here, we moved from a flat. And with a flat, you have a maintenance company, which caused me no end of aggravation, or us no end of aggravation. We almost lost our buyer because of it. We had an offer accepted in the October, and we eventually moved in the April. So that just tells you how long it took. Forget the chain that was in front of us, because that was almost non-existent. It was purely and simply because this maintenance company were just absolutely useless and wanting so much paperwork and money to do anything. It was just horrendous. So, housing tip for me: if you have to move into a flat, try and avoid maintenance companies, because they are a pain in the arse. Anyway, again, I'm sorry, I've digressed. So I'm not going to go any further than the next turning on the right. I'm going to walk up there, which is Drury Lane. But if you were to carry on up there, you get to Russet Way on the right hand side, which is where I started. Beyond that, a couple of other roads, and Port Way being the final road. Science Park will be on the left, as you can see some of the outbuildings here. Big development plan for there over the next few years apparently. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. Job opportunities and stuff like that. Again, we're bringing lots of traffic into the village, which probably isn't going to be the best. And then beyond that, you've got the garden centres, Phillimore and Dobies, and then out to the 505, which is left for Royston, right for Cambridge. The train line, or train station, as I was alluding to earlier on, in Melbourn, is where you were by the church. If you walk up that road down towards the Sheen Mill, there is a path, usually, but it's being repaired and redone at the minute. So you have to sort of go all the way round to get to the station. Anyway, car coming past, so I'll let that go past. So when I left and started, this is one of the roads I showed you down, and it obviously takes you back down towards the high street. People always fly around that corner
too fast, always, especially if you're coming up here. So just be careful. Any locals watching it, slow down, because one day there'll be an accident, because it's completely blind, that corner. And this isn't great either, for coming out this road either. Anyway, that's just a moan. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now. Been going now for half an hour, which is more than I thought I would. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon.